Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Heartless, and I will be playing Gille Trebble. And joining me here today is my lovely friend.
Hello, I'm Mira. I will be playing Sammy Jax.
Now, this specific FPS takes place after a game called Showtime. If you haven't seen it yet, spoilers abound, but you know, if you don't care, go ahead and stay.
It's an angsty one.
And as such, the conversation topics will probably be at least mildly angsty or medium angsty, depending on what gets brought up and discussed, because characters. So, Sammy, after dropping off your books at Bond's office, what are you doing now?
He honestly thought about going to the garden, but then he's honestly worried about Gille, because Gille
kind of slipped away after Bond checked up on him, and essentially disappeared.
Yeah, and they didn't really get to talk, really, after. Because, they talked, but Sammy didn't get to check up on his partner. And he's worried because he knows he himself is not okay, and if Sammy isn't okay, Gille's not okay.
Luckily enough, there are very few places Gille could be hanging out and there not be a police siren involved. So, is Sammy going to head on over to the Chaos Fam apartment to see if Gille's there? Yeah,
he is, because it's the first place that he really knows to look. And if Gille's not in the apartment, he's most likely lost in the city somewhere.
I mean, besides that, you do have besides being lost in the city or being in the Chaos Family apartment, there is one more place Gille could be, but that's a long ride out, so you don't think he'd really gone that far.
Yeah.
Especially since passing the studio's stables, you can hear a specific demonic whinnying from inside. So, Stoffles is still in the stables.
I feel like Sammy just kind of waves at Stoffles as he passes by, and he's gonna head towards the apartment. The Chaos Fam apartment.
It's easy enough to get inside, because I imagine Sandy would just let Sammy in.
Yeah.
And it's easy enough for you to navigate to the hallway that leads to Gille's room.
I'm gonna roll dex to see how well Sammy avoids all of the traps. Horribly.
So, for our listening audience, that was a 4.
That was a 4. Hard. Do you want to describe what Sammy is covered in by the time that he reaches Gille's door?
So by the time that he reaches Gille's door, he's covered in glitter, and also a bunch of plastic, what looks like bugs, with lots of little creepy legs. He also might be a tiny bit singed from a fire trap.
The thing is, He's doubly covered in glitter.
He's covered in more glitter.
Yeah, it's like head to toe. You can't even. I feel like it's just like someone decided to take a huge, gigantic Costco-sized container of glitter and dumped it on him at this point.
Uh-huh.
He is covered in glitter, and there's gonna be stuff coming out of his hoodie for like weeks. And just like I feel like there's like the slightest trail of like smoke coming from like the edges of his robes.
Yeah. Alright, you're standing in front of Gille's door. Gille's door is closed. What are you doing?
Hey, Gille? Are you okay?
Hmm? Is that you, Sammy?
Yeah, it's Sammy. Hi. Can I come in?
Door's unlocked. I did hear you coming down the hallway, by the way.
You know, a fire trap is not safe, Gille. And Sammy's gonna open the door.
Well, it's not like it's magical fire. You're a Toon, aren't you?
I was talking about the apartment.
Ah, no, it's fine. And as you come in, Gille is relaxing on his bed, reading a book. And he just has a really shit-eating grin on his face.
And despite all of the glitter, all of the creepy little insectoid plastic things, and just everything, Sammy's smiling.
What's up?
I just finished delivering the books I got from that place, Daban.
Yeah. Alright, last night, when we got back to their apartment, I just kind of put the potions I stole, where they asked me to, for that part of it.
Mm-hmm. There were so many... Why did I think stealing an entire shelf was a good idea? There were so many books, Gille. I fumbled so many times. There was wheels of cheese in there.
Why do you have a huge wheel of cheese?
I don't know how it got in there. And like he kind of like pulls back his hood a little, and like he kind of stares accusingly at something in his hood. Do you want to roll perception?
Sure. Well, 9.
Yeah, well, it's kind of obvious because like there is the faintest sounds of indignant squeaking, and Sammy's just like, how the heck did you fit an entire wheel of cheese while I wasn't paying attention, squeakers? No, where the heck did you get it? Wait, Barkson? Why did Barkson have cheese that big? You can't eat that much. Squeak, squeak. Mm-hmm. Sure. Two of them.
So Gille is starting to rock back and forth in his seat on his bed, just laughing as he closes his book.
Sammy just kind of flumps his hood back over Squeaker's, muffling the next, trying to explain themselves squeak from Squeakers. And he's just like, I don't want to hear it. We can talk about this later. How are you, Gil?
I'm doing fine. Let's see, one name off my list. Don't have to worry about him anymore.
Yeah, because a giant snake ate him.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't get to stick him through the heart.
Yeah. Yeah, that. You went down, Gil.
Yeah. So, Gil's setting the what appears to be a medical textbook aside on his nightstand.
Sammy kind of wanders closer to the bed and just he kind of sits at the edge of it, and he looks at you, Gil, and his hood is down and his mask is off, and he just gonna roll real quick to see how well. Where is it? Okay, this +1. Oh, okay. That was a nat 20 in deception.
Oh gosh. By the way, this is Gil's persuasion that he's fine because he is, guys.
So you, Gil, you don't see you don't see the look on Sammy's face. You do see that he is concerned, but you don't see how scared he was for you. yeah, with a 10, you do not see past the kind of mask that Sammy's putting on, mainly so he doesn't break down and cry / imply something that had started a fight between the two of you before.
Gil kind of just relaxes against the headboard. So he's not wearing his armor right now, but his turtleneck that he usually wears is a dark orange color.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of folds his hands over his stomach. And he looks at Sammy and says, well, I'm doing fine. Yeah, I went down, but isn't that better than Sandy going down? I mean, admittedly, it hit Tobias. And unfortunately, anything I did couldn't have helped the poor Toon, but
I know you're gonna be mad at me for saying this, but I kind of wish it would have been me.
Sammy.
Watching you go down was terrifying, Gil. And McSpawn was down. They took the blow for Sandy. And I wished I could have done the same for you. Not because you can't take it, but I don't like seeing you get hurt.
And Sammy, if you had taken it and gone down, how do you think that would have made me feel?
I know. But I can't stop thinking that it should have been me, Gil. I want to protect you.
I am the shield. The one with the most... I think I was probably the one with the most AC there. I have armor. I'm building myself up to be meant to take hits. To be the one to stand in front. And, well, be the one to protect the people I care about. Because I actually care about people now.
Yeah. I don't know if I can protect you guys the way I want. Not yet. Because I know you're annoyed at me for saying that I'm not a strong cleric, but I'm not, Gil. I'm not like McSpawn. Hell, I'm not a good cleric.
Gil just kind of looks at you for a moment in silence. It's less about specifically you being not a strong cleric and more about, it just reminds me of what you said, that you're not worth it. Remember when you said that?
Sammy looks away. Yeah. I did say that.
And it's a disservice to me for you to say that about yourself. Because if you're not worth it, then what am I doing? Am I chopped liver?
No, you're not. I spent 8 years telling myself I wasn't important, Gil, because if I wasn't important, then that meant that he wouldn't find me. He wouldn't think of me as a component. Prismatone helped me break through the actual blocking off of my emotion skill, but she can't reach into my mind and break 8 years of lying to myself. 'Cause I'm a liar, Gil.
I'd say takes one to know one, but I'm starting to think that I'm not really good at reading people.
Yeah, you can be really obtuse sometimes, Gil.
Well, just look at me. I'm made of shapes.
You can be a dumbass, but that doesn't mean I don't love you.
gonna roll something.
Insight?
No. This is
Oh.
deception.
Oh dear. Okay. I didn't hear the you rolling something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gille just kind of he laughs in a weird way for a second, but he just kind of shakes it off and resolves to settle himself back against the let's see, 14 plus 7 is 21.
Damn it, he's off by 1. So he catches the weird tone, but he can't parse why it's weird.
You want to hear about well, I suppose whatever that was did?
Sure. Gil's looking at you. Sorry, Gil, Sammy's looking at you.
I mean, Gil is looking at Sammy.
I know, but Sammy is like he stopped looking away from you. He's actually looking at you.
Well, you see, I think no, it was definitely a nightmare, and in the nightmare, I was fading from reality again. And let's see, Marcel, Bob, Sandy, Vaughn, you, and Chifley all just kind of turned your backs on me and pretended I didn't exist. Like you didn't care. Which obviously isn't true.
No.
And Bond said it wasn't true.
Sammy kind of reaches out to try and scoop up Gil's hand if Gil will let him, but he's moving slowly so Gil can refuse that contact.
Gil glances down at the hand coming towards him and he reaches out and takes Sammy's hand.
And Gil, you see Sammy relax. Like he was like, you don't need an insight for this. He's not hiding it. Sammy is an open book. There was worry that Gil was going to refuse Sammy reaching out.
And well, usually after I have a nightmare, I just don't really want any form of contact. It's just, eh.
I noticed. I didn't want to push, so I didn't really ask besides trying to see what you needed me to do right then. I know you said that you know it wasn't true, but you do know I care, right?
I mean, if you didn't care, you wouldn't have asked me what you could do and sat by me while we all rested right after.
Yeah. I'm glad you're okay, Gil. Nightmare aside.
Gil cracks a sharp smile. I've got tough skin, you know.
Yeah, I think you have tougher skin than I do.
That's what I get for being a villain for most of my life.
Yeah.
Sammy,
Yeah?
when we walked into that room, you looked horrified. Like you did back when I said those things about you.
Sammy, his hand kind of tightens around yours, Gil, and he lets out a kind of shuddering sigh. I saw myself there for a second. The ev-
Sam,
tunes being used like that, it for a moment it was like I hadn't, like Barks had never had found me.
gonna have Gil roll insight. That's a 0.
Oh, buddy.
Gil just slowly tilts his head to the side. Um. So there was something in that room that.
The colors, Gil.
The colors.
The colors in the jars and string. Those were outlines, Gil.
Oh. Oh.
And the color, not, it made me think too much about ink.
Oh. Oh. Okay. So no wonder both you and Bond were acting so strangely in that room.
What he was doing, Gil, was horrific.
I mean,
Not just.
I guess.
No. Those were tunes, Gil. They were tunes. And he just used them like we weren't real. We were just components. We were things.
Yeah, and he was a monster.
Yeah.
Which is why we were going there to take him down.
I know. But for a moment, it was like I was back with Sinclair. Back in that cage. Back being hurt again. And it horrified me to see these things. I was horrified, Gil, that some poor tune was killed like that.
want a hug?
I would really like that, Gil. I like that a lot. Yes, please.
Gil starts slowly pulling Sammy into a hug with the strength of 6 plus
Yeah,
2, which is 8.
Sammy's not resisting though, so it just happens, and like just I feel like just Sammy kind of just goes limp against Gil's side.
Oh, no. Gil was pulling Sammy into his lap.
Well, Sammy's gone. Sammy's down.
So that Sammy could lean his head against Gil's chest.
Yeah, Sammy's doing that.
And Gil very kind of stiffly wraps his arms around Sammy.
Gil, do you want to roll perception?
Sure. Let me try to choose a dice that maybe will be nice to me. 10 is not bad.
10 is not bad. 10 is not bad. Yeah. He's not trying to hide this. Gil, Sammy's quietly crying. Like, it's the kind of cry where you don't even really notice that you are crying.
Mm-hmm.
It's just his cheeks are wet, and yeah, it's not the really huge, big, dramatic Ghibli cry. It's just simple tears.
Yeah.
And he's hugging you back a lot tighter than you are.
Gil just kind of tightens his hold.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that Marcel's okay.
Honestly, I think I might have snapped again if he hadn't been when we got there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have blamed you for snapping, because I know I actually snapped a bit back there. I went in there with no plan, Gil. I was too angry for one.
Honestly, I saw the circle. Oh, God, the pressure of that deity that was in the room kind of just, I don't know, gave me a little bit of a headache. I'm going to be real.
Mm-hmm. Sammy's gonna kind of reach up and just kind of gently rub at Gil's temples through the hug.
I honestly think my plan was just, well, rituals are things that if you mess around with the caster, they could be interrupted. So I thought, beat the monster's ass into the ground, and and if both you, Sandy, and Bon weren't over there, I might not have continued to just chase after the bastard.
Yeah, I'm fucking glad he's dead. Because you're right, Gil. Monsters like that don't deserve to exist. Not anymore.
They need to be taken out.
Yeah, they do. Gil, the night before we found Marcel's hat, you mentioned your sister. What are you gonna do about her?
I don't know. She tried framing me for murder. I don't know if she's tried framing me for anything else. I don't know. The fact that Psychopomp's symbol was at that burnt down forest is kind of suspicious, to say the least. But just framing me for murder and stealing my face to do it isn't really monster worthy,
Yeah.
I want to know why.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell is she doing this? She was supposed to be the goody two-shoes, the golden child of the family, and I don't understand why she's devolving into villainy.
Sometimes characters, toons, we develop negatively. I think. But I'm not. There could be something else pulling at the strings. I want to find out with you. I don't want you to find out on your own. Not because you can't handle it, but because...
Well, I wouldn't choose to go it alone. I know that Marcel has a bone to pick with her. And probably the cops she pissed off. What was her name? Lotus the Bounty Hunter? No, it was something else. Marina... something.
Miss Marina?
Oh, you know her?
Yeah, she, after I foiled your attempted heist at that museum, and he kind of pokes Gil in the shoulder. You left me so much paperwork, Gil. There was so much packing paperwork.
What, the cop you brought with you didn't do it himself?
No. You packing foisted it off of me. Because you're my nemesis, after all. And like, he's like lightly poking at Gil's shoulder.
I would just talk to Jay about that sort of thing, because he'd probably know better than me about any form of paperwork.
Yeah, you Mr. Run from the law. Paperwork? What's paperwork?
Paperwork is something I actively avoid and lie my way out of. You should know this. Expect it, even.
Of course I'm going to expect it, you peckneck. You wouldn't be Gil if you didn't avoid paperwork. Hell, I think there'd be something wrong with you if you didn't try and squirm your way out of doing something like that. Honestly, the only way I can honestly picture you even holding paperwork is just to throw it into a bonfire.
Funny story about that. Bob and I were burning paperwork. And I explode. Bob, yes.
Bob was burning paperwork.
Yeah. You said he needed to get rid of it.
I mean, we did try and burn down a few vines that were covering one of the shrines.
You know, do you know about that giant black spot on the roof of Dodo Studios?
Wait. Gil, don't tell me. Gil! Gil, I have friends who work at Dodo Studios.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Intermission. Do do do. Do do do. Intermission. 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 Do do do. Do do do. Intermission, 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 intermission. I don't really know what to fill the void with. Do 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 do. Da, 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 da. Ba 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 da 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 da. Um. Just a few minutes of me trying to fill the silence. Yeah, we're just chilling. We're just chilling. Hmm. 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 Intermission, 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 intermission.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back.
So let's see. Oh yeah.
I don't remember where we were going with the
Gil brought up the fact that he and Bob were burning paperwork, and Sammy was going off about something.
Oh boy. I think it was mainly just Sammy being like, oh yes, I remember now. Just it was Sammy going, Gil, I have friends who work at the studio. Why did you blow up the studio roof?
Because I thought it would be quicker than just setting the papers on fire one by one. And
At least you didn't.
I was going into my hammer space and I fumbled and I pulled out a dynamite stick and I thought, well, screw it.
Sammy just kind of thunks his forehead against your chest, Gil. You're impossible sometimes. But he's saying this with a grin.
But yeah, so that's why there's a black soot spot on the roof of Dodo Studios. And then Bob and I went to Panini Queen for lunch.
How are the paninis, by the way? Like, I've heard murmurings on the streets, but I've never actually been in.
Oh, they're good. The strangest thing is that let's see, Marcel, Lucky Jack, I think a couple of the other actors at the studio were there. They were doing something in the parking lot, and apparently Road didn't believe that paninis exist. At least that's what Lucky Jack said about it.
So you've met Lucky Jack then?
Yeah, when I was passing out missing posters for Marcel a couple of days in to the week, I ran into him at the studio.
Yeah?
Yeah. I know, I think we were both just trying to suss each other out, and we didn't really talk about anything. Not anything significant.
Yeah. Trying to figure out where you stand with a person, especially when you just first met them, it can be hard.
He was definitely on edge about something. That's a surprise coming from me, a person who, you know, he lifts one hand and knocks on his head, thick skull.
Yeah. If he was that worried about something, it must have been something huge for you to notice. And like he just kind of pokes Gil's pointy nose.
Gil kind of half sneezes and wrinkles his nose.
You're like a cat.
I am not like one of those disgusting beasts from hell. His tail lashes back and forth behind him. It makes thumping noises against the headboard.
Sammy just kind of snickers and kind of just buries his face into Gil's like stomach, and he's just like, "Mm-hmm. You're not like a cat at all."
I don't think I believe you, but
And he just kind of pokes Gille. Like, it's just like, you're tiny.
Gille reaches down and starts tickling Sammy.
Oh, no!
Call me tiny, will you? Well, I'll tickle you.
No, then stop! No! Stop! Sammy's gonna try and swat at Gille's hands.
Outsmarts. He stops.
Sammy just kind of he flops back in range, but like just kind of like very poutingly is just like, it's no fair that you're not ticklish. I can't get you back.
You know, I think Chifley might be ticklish too.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
And he's a lightweight, gosh.
You guys went drinking?
No, took me out on a date, and he had like 3 cups of wine, and he suddenly devolved it into, classic Sammy sleepy mutterings.
And Sammy just kind of tucks his chin against Gille's leg, and he's just like, did you and Chif have fun?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He did this magic thing where we could hear my music. That was really interesting. Although I really need to teach him how to waltz.
You know, I tried to dance with him, and I think it triggered a flashback. I don't know exactly what triggered it. He told me it wasn't the dancing, but he didn't want to talk about it.
Gil slowly tilted his head to the side, and you can see the question marks forming above his head. Huh?
Sammy looks and kind of grabs one of the question marks and just pulls it back down. He's like, okay, what are you confused about? Which part?
What do you mean by flashbacks? Huh?
It means that you're remembering what happened.
Oh, this is like that trigger thing you were talking about.
With triggers, Dr. Page says that they can cause you to just get stuck in the memory, and it's like you're remembering it all over again.
Like when I touched his back.
Yeah, it triggered a flashback, and he wasn't really seeing you, he was seeing what hurt him.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty clear. His eyes got all kind of glossy. And I've seen that before once in someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not fun.
Oh, it doesn't sound fun. Gil just kind of reaches up and presses against his chest as he gets a thoughtful look on his face.
We're gonna roll insight. That's an 11. Sammy just kind of his shading kind of turns like slightly gray, and he kind of just reaches up to rest his own hand kind of against the back of Gil's hand. He's just like, "You okay, Gil?
Hmm?
You
Gil
you're
looks
you're
down. Oh.
you're touching your chest over your scar. Does it hurt?"
No, it doesn't. Um, he kind of pulls his hand back and curls his hand around Sammy's. It doesn't hurt right now, but I guess I do that when I'm thinking now. It's weird.
Kind of like when I touch my wrists.
Yeah, probably.
What were you thinking about?
I don't know, all the times I was an idiot and decided to say those specific words.
Mm-hmm.
And how I got the scar. Hmm. Kind of wondering if it would create any of those flashback things somewhere that I don't
It,
know.
I think it could if maybe a certain trigger happened, and sometimes you don't realize a thing is a trigger until it happens.
Hmm. I didn't even know those existed, so.
Yeah, I didn't know until I went to Dr. Page with Chifley. My my color swatching.
Hmm. I have to go do that soon. Been kind of avoiding it. And Chifley caught on.
Yeah, he's good at that.
I just don't really trust doctors.
Yeah, I think I only really trust Chifley, and I only trust Dr. Page because Chifley was with me.
Mm. I trust Bond.
Mm-hmm. They're good. They're they're really good.
They could have left me out in the cold. They didn't.
How did you two meet?
Well, you see, remember when I went into the studio? You know, after we
We met.
mm-hmm.
I tried to deck you in the face.
Is that what you were trying to do?
Yes, it was. You pecker. I was trying to deck you in the face, but you were too squirrely.
Always gotta be squirrely. Being squirrely is better than getting hit. That's how I got out of jail 4 or 5 times. No, 3 or 4 times. 3 or 4 times.
Hey, Gil. On the subject of hitting, I wanted to apologize for hitting you at the carnival.
Oh, no. I deserve that.
Yeah, but You, I, even though I made that promise to March, he kind of reaches up and kind of gently cups the cheek that he had hit all that while back, and he just kind of traces his thumb against Gille's cheek, and he's just like, I regret hurting you.
You know,
And I'm sorry.
no, that day I hurt myself more than you could hurt me.
Yeah, but I don't want to hurt you like that ever again.
Gil's expression softens. And he reaches up and places his hand on Sammy's. He just kind of tilts his head into Sammy's hand. But I don't ever want to hurt you like I did when you came after me, Sammy, and Sandy. You know, why are your names so damn similar?
Sammy starts giggling.
Gil just kind of straightens up and looks at the fourth wall. Why? It's hard keeping them straight, and I don't know why you guys thought it was a good idea.
I don't think we have control over our names being similar, Gil.
Gil looks at Sammy and just shakes his head and stops what he was about to say.
You know, I actually call Sandy Candy. Because she, even though we stole free candy from, there was a sweets shop that had free samples, so Sandy convinced me that it wasn't really stealing, it was just us taking the samples and then running. But she, yeah, I started calling her Sandy Candy. And I don't know why our names are so similar. Like, you would think that out of all of the people I could have met, it was somebody who had such a similar name to me.
It's just weird. Really weird. And he looks back to the fourth wall for a moment. But he soon enough snaps his attention back to Sammy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't want to hurt you like that again.
Yeah, I know, and I don't want to. I don't want to make you. I don't want to have a situation where you think I would hurt you in that way again. You know? Because even though you hurt me, I hurt you just as much back there. Even though the snap judgment that you made, it could have been that if I hadn't had Jay and Jiffley with me. If I hadn't had them, I wouldn't have been able to figure out what was going on with Bondlock. And it could have been like that.
If I hadn't been being vindictive with my note, maybe you wouldn't have been called at all.
Yeah. And maybe if you had let me know what you were doing, I could have just been there with you and helped. Or even just staged a distraction so you didn't have to worry at all. But it happened the way it did. And we've learned from it. I've learned that I need to not let my emotions get the best of me, because I should have tried to help Bondlock a lot more than I did.
Honestly, my anger over that had been building up for weeks. Ever since I learned what was going on with him. And I shouldn't have let it got that far to just explode out with no restraint.
Maybe what you need to do is do a controlled burn.
Oh, no, that's what I was doing when we were going after that monster.
Yeah, but I mean, letting yourself be angry and letting yourself feel that anger, it helps to let it out, Gil, in a way that you can direct it. Like, yes, hunting down monsters is a good way to channel it, but when you can't find the monsters, channeling it through letting yourself feel and maybe punching a few trees, it might help keep it from exploding so uncontrollably.
As long as I don't punch a few trees around Bondlock again. It's the first time when he told me, I kind of reacted a little violently. And I got up and I kicked a tree. Ow! I think my toe might still be a little hurt even so long after. And he wiggles his toes.
Sammy kind of looks at Gil's foot and he just kind of is like, do you need me to cast Cure Wounds on it, Gil?
No. It was a joke.
Sammy kind of giggles.
Bonlock was scared of me when I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, well, makes sense. I should have known better. Considering what I know about Bonlock.
When I met Bonlock, I was walking through the city one night. We ran into each other in a park. And we talked a little, and just when he mentioned some of the stuff that what that monster did to him, I got so angry, but he noticed and he was pecking terrified, and I felt like I was awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And scaring the people you care about because you're angry is not a fun feeling. And he kind of reaches out and gently takes Gil's hand and squeezes gently.
Starting to learn about that, I guess.
Yeah. It's ultimately learning where to channel it safely.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I broke Miss Nana's wrist on accident because I was so angry at family and what they were doing. It wasn't her fault. She was the nanny they hired. It wasn't her fault what they did.
Mm-hmm.
But she talked to me about where I needed to channel my anger at all of the injustice that I was facing and feeling, and I needed to make a decision on if I wanted to protect or if I wanted to hurt. And I didn't want to hurt. I didn't want to hurt Miss Nana. I didn't want to hurt anyone like that.
Yeah. Well. I think I'm gonna take a little break from heists for a while, just so you know.
Okay. Are the dice bullying you?
What?
Are the dice bullying you?
Are you talking to Gil? Because that's Gil saying that he's gonna take a break from
Oh.
heists for a little while.
I heard dice. I heard dice. I heard dice.
No, Gil's saying to Sammy, Yeah, I'm gonna take a break from heists for a little while.
Oh,
Stick around the house, poke at Marcel while he's in bed.
error 404, hearing processing not working. Okay, I'm on the same page now. Okay, Sammy kind of he nods and he's like, yeah, and I think that there's you can find me in the garden.
If I can find the garden, because honestly, the other day when we went for a walk, and I told Bon that yes, I had gone all over Toontown during this past week, and I should know where I'm going by now. But we still almost went to Knick-Knack Town.
That's so long. That's so far away from here.
Honestly, I accidentally ended up almost going to Knick-Knack Town again. But before that. So this was again. Yeah, before that, when I was taking Bon Lock out for ice cream, we almost went to Knick-Knack because I got lost.
Oh, Gil.
Or maybe we ended up somehow in Knick-Knack.
Oh, Gil, that's so far away. That's such a long walk for just a walk.
I don't know. Sometimes I just kind of use scene cutaways to get places faster.
Gil, we need to get you a map. You need a map.
Maybe.
Oh, but how about this? If you want to see me, you can give me a ring, and you can see me, and I'll come over.
So you don't have to worry about me getting lost, huh?
Yeah, you got lost for a damn boat ride.
I'm sorry. Somehow we ended up in the forest somewhere.
At least it wasn't the entire day, and I wasn't worried that you'd gotten yourself kidnapped.
I mean, you probably could have called me, and it's more likely that I would have been arrested.
I think you would have to worry about Chifley kicking your ass if you got arrested with Chifley. I would kick your ass if you got arrested with Chifley.
Honestly, it's not my fault. Bounty hunters just kind of show up out of the woodwork sometimes. I've got a really high price on my head, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of probably increased with the cross criminal activity over political lines that I've done now.
Oh, Gil.
The leaders of Dreamworkers probably hate me.
What did you even do to piss off Dreamworkers?
Oh, that's where I used to live. In
Mm.
Dreamworkers, there's a admittedly small city called Ilfracombe there. That's where I grew up. Where I tortured the poor police chief by hanging him over a vat of green soda.
Greens. What is up with you and green? Like, wasn't...
Well,
wasn't
the idea was that he was supposed to think it was dip, but it wasn't dip.
Oh, Gille. And, like, Sammy has kind of like a very kind of exasperated but fond smile on his face as he's looking at you, Gille. It's just like, oh, of course, you would spook your poor victim with something that turns out to be harmless. Of course.
Best way to do it, in my opinion. That was the best birthday I've ever had.
Well, hopefully this year we can make your birthday enjoyable too.
I think on that note, do you have anything else you want to talk about, Mira?
No, I think that's a good place to end it.
Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you all for listening.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.